Montana This Morning.
More and more domestic violence cases are showing up in court. I'm Annie Johnson, and I'll have more coming up on what's going on here in Gallatin County and what you can do to help.
I'm Jonathan Ambarian at the Montana State Capitol. The Maine state budget bill is moving forward after clearing another hurdle. I'll have more on the all-day debate.
The day has finally arrived for a young bald eagle poisoned with lead to be set free. I'm Cody Boyer with that story coming up.
Good morning. You're watching Montana This Morning. It is Tuesday. It is 6:30 a.m. Holly Brantley, Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell here. We have a lot of stories to get to, but first, Matt, it's a little slick out there.
It is slick. I'm getting reports from I-90 about multiple accidents as people are kind of sliding around. Take it easy this morning. It is slick out there, and we've had some snow. There are icy spots on our area roadways. Visibility stinks overall. Westbound traffic on Bozeman Pass, our hearing is slowed to nearly a standstill. Patchy ice on Homestake Pass, black ice down Gallatin Canyon, and we do have more snow on the way. Our daytime temperatures are not warming up dramatically. Look at that fog. That's another thing you need to pay attention to. It's a crazy weather day. Temperatures back into the 30s. Luckily, the heavy snow is done, but we still have some snow showers that are possible. We're going to break it all down for you coming up on the Billion Auto Group weather patio in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Well, we're still waiting for more details about the homicide-suicide that took place in Sunday morning in Livingston.
In a news release from the city of Livingston, police officers and Park County Sheriff's deputies responded to a residence South 9th Street for an ongoing disturbance.
Officers were advised that shots were fired. There's an ongoing investigation that law enforcement says appears like one person was shot and killed while another succumbed to his injuries after shooting himself.
My deputies responded to an address in town just shortly after 7 a.m. My deputies did make contact with an individual who was armed at the time. They attempted to try to talk to him, and ultimately he took his own life.
The Montana Department of Criminal Investigation and Montana Highway Patrol are assisting in the investigation. We will continue to keep you updated with more information as it becomes available.
Well, multiple domestic violence related cases have been reported over this past weekend, an increasing trend that seems to be happening all over the country.
MTN's Annie Johnson reports on the domestic abuse cases from just yesterday morning in Gallatin County Justice Court.
From the start of the pandemic, it was evident that domestic violence cases in the county were rising, and a year later, it's still an increasing problem.
Monday morning in Justice Court, Judge Adams heard 2 domestic violence-related cases.
Gallatin County Justice Court, Judge Adams here. I'll be presiding over today's matters.
But it can be very challenging to gauge exact numbers for various reasons.
You have to look at the number of cases that go unreported. There's many reasons why they go unreported. The victim lives with the offender. They're repeat victims.
54-year-old Kenneth Radford appeared in court after being accused of punching his 13-year-old son.
The state does have concern for safety to the minor child as well as minor children, as 3 other children were present during the incident.
And 24-year-old Kyle Jackson appeared in court after being accused of choking his girlfriend.
It looks like there's a history of alcohol violations and concern for safety to the victim.
It may be harder to identify when a friend or loved one is experiencing domestic violence due to the encouraged limited contact between people, but law enforcement encourages, if you see something, to say something.
You can always reach out to law enforcement.
If you suspect any type of abuse, there's multiple ways you can report it and in fact remain anonymous. You can call the help center at 211, you can call 911, you can even reach out to Haven for more resources. Reporting in Gallatin County, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
6:33 now. The full Montana House puts its stamp on the state budget bill yesterday. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has more on the issues debated and changes made in the budget proposal.
On Monday, the Montana House met for a full day to consider just a single bill, but it was a massive one. House Bill 2, the Maine state budget bill.
House Bill 2 represents literally hundreds of hours of work by the Appropriation Committee and a very, very dedicated staff.
HB 2 lays out about $12.6 billion over the next 2 years from the general fund, state special revenue, and federal money. Before any amendments, it was about $400 million lower than Governor Greg Gianforte's original budget proposal.
I'm very proud of the work this committee did in searching for efficiencies and gains.
During the floor debate, lawmakers went through the 5 sections of the budget one at a time. The majority Republicans approved one large amendment on Monday, cutting about $4 million appropriated for state agency positions that aren't filled. Much of the discussion was on the largest section, Public Health and Human Services. Democrats brought a number of amendments attempting to restore or increase funding for a variety of health and human services programs.
There's a few problems that we could do better, and I hope we will. We left, as you heard, many services and programs unfunded for a number of different reasons. I'm hopeful that we'll work those out going forward.
But Republicans said it was important to them to strike a balance between maintaining services and making the department more efficient.
We came into this with really an idea of service, trying to increase the service out to the people of Montana as we did reducing bureaucracy.
The Democratic amendments all failed, mostly on party lines. After about 6 hours of discussion, the House endorsed HB 2 on a 67-33 preliminary vote, with Republicans in favor and Democrats opposed. Now it will have to face a final vote in the House before moving on to the Senate. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Now, one other notable change yesterday was that lawmakers removed general fund appropriations for several programs from House Bill 2. They say they intended federal money from the COVID stimulus bill to be used to cover those funds.
Well, now the story of a young bald eagle who found himself on the brink of death from lead poisoning.
That was about a month ago. Our Cody Boyer caught up with the bird again yesterday as those behind his rescue got to release him back into the wild.
On our way up there, I would reach back and just kind of gently touch his feathers and just really hoped that he was still alive.
He's one of the meanest ones I've ever encountered.
He is feisty. He's very feisty, ready to go.
Almost exactly 4 weeks ago, this young male eagle found himself in an entirely different situation. Face down in the snow and no way to get back up. Fast forward to today. After some R&R at the Montana Raptor Conservation Center in Bozeman, he now flies a different story.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Thank God for Montana Raptor Conservation Center.
For Julie Betts and her husband, Carrie, this is special.
Amazing.
And it isn't the first time. Before the rescue of this male came another, a young female in the same area of Yellowstone County. She, too, earned a new lease on life.
We like to think that they are related. They're about the same age, they believe. I cannot speak highly enough of the center.
Julie shared with me a story, a connection she had with bald eagles and a late family member, always watching over her, like an eagle. So when she says she's returning the favor, she means it twice.
It seems as though whenever I personally am going through a difficult time, they'll show up in my life. And when I watch them, they are so confident and determined and very strong. They're very comforting to me.
And this hug to Julie is what makes it worth it.
And the fact that Carrie and I could volunteer our time to rescue these two beauties is beyond honorable.
Definitely a success story.
Amazing. Cody Boyer
awesome.
there reporting. That is just a
Good stuff.
Beautiful story.
Good stuff.
Well, coming up here on Montana this morning, maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, but Zoom meetings are a vital part of keeping many businesses going during the pandemic. After the break, what the future holds for the suddenly popular app after life begins to return to normal.
But first, let's check in with Gail King to see what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, a second mass shooting within a week has left 10 people dead, including a police officer. We're in Boulder, Colorado this morning, where we will hear from witnesses and bring you the latest on that investigation. Plus, we'll speak with a congressman who represents the area and ask how we should address gun violence in this country again. Also, there is breaking news on questions about AstraZeneca's latest vaccine trial data. And only on CBS This Morning, we'll show you a groundbreaking trial that could change the way that vaccines are distributed around the world. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.